Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Go Premanandi. We're reading from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the 7th chapter, Knowledge of the Absolute, text 10, 7:10. So you can repeat, Bijam mam sarva bhutanam Vidi partha sanatanam Buddhir buddhi mantam asmi Matam Tejas tejas vinam aham. What? Yeah, maybe give me another light. I mean, I see it pretty good, but you can put on these lights too. In the front, not the back. So you should get Bhagavad Gitas. What? Oh, okay, they're putting it up there. Bijamam sarva bhutanam.
Bijamam sarva bhutanam.
Oh, that's louder than we are chanting. Vidi partha sanatanam.
Vidi partha sanatanam.
Buddhi buddhi mantam asmi.
Buddhir buddhi matam asmi.
Tejas tejasvinam aham.
Tejas tejasvinamaham.
Bijamam sarva bhutanam.
Bijamam sarva bhutanam.
Vinam partha sanatanam.
Vidhi partha sanatanam.
Buddhi buddhi mantam asmi.
Buddhir buddhi matam asmi.
Tejas tejasvinam.
Tejas tejasvinamaham.
Bijamam sarva bhutanam. Vidi partha sanatanam. Buddhi buddhi mantam asmi. Tejas tejasvinam. Bijamam sarva bhutanam. Vidi partha sanatanam. Buddhi buddhi matam
asmi.
Tejas tejasvinamaham.
Bijamam sarva bhutana.
Bijamam sarva bhutanam.
Partha sanatana.
Vidi partha sanatanam. It's time. You gotta cut that.
Tejas tejasvinamaham.
Tejas tejasvinamaham.
I can't understand. What?
There is an echo from one of the devotees who is on Zoom. So as long as he repeats, that volume will come.
So then, better with none. Okay. One person can chant. Sometimes they have a phone or two things going or something. Anyway, so they didn't chant at all. Okay. Bijam, the seed. Mam, me. Sarvabhutanam, of all living entities. Vidhi, try to understand. O son of Prita. Sanatanam, original, eternal. Buddhi, intelligence. Buddhimatam, of the intelligent.
the intelligence.
Asmi,
Asmi,
I am.
I am.
Tejaha,
Tejaha,
prowess.
prowess.
Tejasvinam,
Tejasvinam,
of the powerful.
of the powerful.
Aham,
Aham,
I am.
I am.
Translation. Son of Pita, know that I am the original seed of all existence, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. Purport. Bijam means seed. Krishna is the seed of everything. There are various living entities, movable and inert. Birds, beasts, men, and many other living creatures are moving living entities. Trees and plants, however, are inert. They cannot move, but only stand. Every entity is contained within the scope of 8,400,000 species of life. Some of them are moving and some of them are inert. In all cases, however, the seed of their life is Krishna. As stated in Vedic literature, Brahman, or the supreme absolute truth, is that from which everything is emanating. I keep seeing this light again. I'm sitting here from last time. It's like somehow something is shining. Anyway, it just disturbs my mind, even though nobody else can see it. As stated in Vedic literature, Brahman, or the supreme absolute truth, is that from which everything is emanating. Krishna is Para-Brahman, the supreme spirit. Brahman is impersonal and Para-Brahman is personal. Impersonal Brahman is situated in the personal aspect that is stated in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, originally Krishna is the source of everything. He is the root. As the root of a tree maintains the whole tree, Krishna, being the original root of all things, maintains everything in this material manifestation. This is also confirmed in the Vedic literature, Katha Upanishad 2.2.13. Nityo nityanam chaitanas chaitananam eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. He is the prime eternal among all eternals. He is the supreme living entity of all living entities, and he alone is maintaining all life. One cannot do anything without intelligence, and Krishna also says that he is the root of all intelligence. Unless a person is intelligent, he cannot understand the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna. So we read the Sanskrit again. Bijamam sarvabhutanam viparta sanatanam buddhimantam asmi tejasvinam aham. O son of Prita, know that I am the original seed of all existence, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. So Krishna is now telling Arjuna how he can see, or how he can become God conscious and see God everywhere. There is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether, the ability in man. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat in fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penance of all ascetics. O son of Prita, know that I am the original seed of all existence, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. So, of course, we're just concentrating mainly on this particular verse, but in this chapter, Krishna explains so many ways we can think of him. Krishna is the intelligence. So when we have some intelligence, that is Krishna. Of course, real intelligence, Prabhupada gives a definition of intelligence, is to analyze things in their proper perspective, to see things as they are. So what's the proper perspective? Generally, we don't see things in the proper perspective because we're in the bodily concept of life. But seeing it in the proper perspective is seeing everyone as a spirit soul. I'm a spirit soul. We're all parts and parcels of Krishna. As a matter of fact, Krishna is the seed of all existence. We're a little tiny part and parcel of him. That's why we exist. Otherwise, there's no existence without being part, because there's nothing but Krishna. So everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna. So that's intelligence, real intelligence. There's different things Prabhupada said about intelligence, but Jaswamati Nandana Prabhu once asked Prabhupada that the karmis seem to be, have a lot of intelligence. They are able to do so many things. And sometimes the devotees don't seem to be so intelligent. Is there like a material intelligence and a spiritual intelligence? And Prabhupada's answer was, which he told me, Prabhupada said, intelligence is intelligence, and the devotees are the most intelligent. Now, what I got out of that was, I may not know how to read very well. I may not know so much math. I may not know so many things. But if I know that I'm part and parcel of Krishna and I'm eternally his servant, then that's more intelligent than the person who have several PhDs, is a great teacher in the best universities in the world, but they don't know who they are. They're not very intelligent. If you don't know who you are, everything is based on a false concept. So the most intelligent person is the devotee who knows, at least theoretically knows, that I'm not this body, that I'm a spirit soul. I'm a little tiny fragmental part and parcel of Krishna. Bijam means seed. Krishna is the seed of everything. So anything, not just our life as a spirit soul, who we are part and parcel, but every single thing that exists is coming from Krishna in a seed form. Even in the beginning, when he came, this was just this whole universe just came from his pores of his body, and everything within it. All these bodies, all these creations are all part of, coming from Krishna. There are various living entities, and then Prabhupada gets into the moving and the inert. There's, of course, the moving birds, beasts, men, many other living creatures are the moving living entities. And trees, plants, however, are inert. They cannot move, but only stand. He doesn't say this here because he might, lose some customers. But there are some mountains that are also alive. They're living entities. And some mountains that can fly too. So they're the moving mountains, and then there's ones that don't move. Little pieces of them move. Some rocks, boulders, trees on them. So some living entities move, some don't move, but they only stand. Every entity is contained within the scope of the 8,400,000 species of life. Some of them are moving and some of them are inert. So there's 8,400,000 species. There's 400,000 species of humans. I mean, we know, there's the Chinese, there's the Russians, there's the Koreans, there's the Japanese. I mean, some of these you can see people look a little different, but then and even the Italians and the Greeks, and they look different. The English look a little different. Of course, there's a lot of these, other than actually probably mostly the Chinese, Japanese. Most of the others they get mixed up too. Even the blacks mix with whites, and then you get something else. But there are 400,000 species of humans. I don't know whether that means there's a difference between, these different cultures that are in different countries, or is it also in other planets are the different humans, higher humans. So, but there are 400,000. I don't know how many different humans our scientists say there are, or nationalities, they might say. I don't know how many nationalities there are. You know, there's pygmies. There's what's the tall ones in Africa? Pygmies are small, and then there's tall ones, really tall. Nobody knows. I used to know. I don't know if it's Watusis. That's a dance. Anyway, there are a lot of different species, and there are 8 million other types of species of life. Moving, non-moving. In all cases, however, the seed of their life is Krishna. You have to see everything comes from Krishna. Even the seed within the heart of material desires, that also ultimately comes from Krishna. He gives us that choice. It would be nice if he didn't give us a choice. It would be a lot easier. But because we have a choice, it's not as easy to surrender. He gives us a choice because otherwise, where's the question of love if we're forced to do it? It's not love. You have to have a choice. I'll tell you about a movie. I have not seen this movie probably in 60 years, but it was called The Collector. I don't know if you can look it up. I want to look up movie, The Collector. I think it was called The Collector. Not positive. But this guy collected butterflies, and he had all these butterflies collection. But then he was extremely wealthy, had his own. I mean, this is what you kind of see. You don't tell him anything, but he had his own big place out in the country, and then he gets like Ita or something like that. Is there a movie called The Collector?
Yeah, in 1965.
65. It was a good year. Just see, when Prabhupada came, I was watching that movie. And but it's really I mean, after I became a devotee, I thought about that movie. So there's some, I think it was a nurse, I don't know, but some girl comes out from somewhere, and he puts this chloroform or something on her mouth and her nose, and she passes out. He puts her in the van. He takes her to a place. He puts her in his mansion, but in the basement, and has her chained up. And he's really nice to her, and he just wants her to love him. That's all. So he's and he's being really nice, and he gives her nice food. He gives her whatever she wants, and he just wants her to love him. And then she eventually pretends that she loves him, and he unchains her, and then she picks up a shovel and hits him with it. But then he captures her, and he winds up killing her, burying her, and then doing the same thing with somebody else. but they don't show you. I don't think they show you. I don't remember. This is what I remember from that movie. But then he tries to get the other person to love him. And when I thought about this, how Krishna gives us our free will, because where's the question of love unless you have free will? You can't make somebody love you. I mean, this guy, he was pretty desperate, and he tried really hard. And the person, for some reason, didn't love him. So as Krishna is the same. He gives us this free will. He wants us to choose, give us a choice. We don't have to love him. But if we don't love him, then we have to live separate from him in this artificial, temporary body, and we have to suffer. And if we love him, we could be with him, and just like a father whose son, maybe he becomes a drug addict, and the father's a multimillionaire and wants his son to back, but he's not going to take him. He leaves home but he can always come back to his father if he wanted to. He just has to change his ways, because you don't want, you can't have some drug addict wasting his life. You want him to change. So Krishna's the same. He's like a very kind father. And sometimes, you have to punish your son. And his punishment is really insignificant because it's not really hurting us in the least. We're spiritual. But because we're identifying with something we're not, we think this, why me? Why is God so, well, how can there be a God when all these terrible things happen to me? But nothing is really happening to them. It's just their body, their temporary body, just for this little bit of time. And as long as they keep that attitude, it's going to continue. So Krishna has given us an opportunity to go back to him. He's a very, very rich man, the richest man. And he's willing to share that with us if we just behave ourselves. So every entity, there's 8,400,000 species of life. In all cases, however, the seed of their life is Krishna, as stated in the Vedic literature. Brahman, or the supreme absolute truth, is that from which everything is emanating. Krishna. Emanating. Krishna is Param Brahman, the supreme spirit. Brahman is impersonal and Param Brahman is personal. I mean, even this, he just basically just touches on it. Most people may not even understand impersonal and personal, but he does say it, that Brahman is impersonal, Param Brahman is personal. Impersonal Brahman is situated in the personal aspect. That is stated in Bhagavad Gita, that Brahman is resting on Krishna. Therefore, originally, Krishna is the source of everything. He is the root. So originally, he was the source, and he still is the source. Nothing has changed. He is the root. As the root of the tree maintains the whole tree, Krishna, being the original root of all things, maintains everything in this material manifestation. Not only in this, that's what it says here, in this material manifestation, because that's all we know. But he also maintains everything in the spiritual world, everything in every universe. So this is also confirmed in Vedic literature, Karta Upanishad 2.2.13, Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. He's the prime eternal among all eternals. There's so many different eternal, we're all eternal, but he is the prime eternal. There's a difference. He's the original. Even among all eternals, we're eternals. We're little tiny fragmental parts and parcels of Krishna. That's just one aspect of being eternal. We're eternal. Then there's other eternals, which are expansions of him, which have his same potency. But still, Krishna is the original of all those eternals. He's the prime eternal among all eternals, whether they're swamsa or vibhinamsa, little particles or expansions. He's the prime eternal. He is the supreme living entity of all living entities. And he alone is maintaining all life. Now, how do you know this? I mean, anybody can say anything. So what is your answer?
Sadhu and Shastra. Said in the Shastras, that's our reference. And it is also being spoken by the representative, like Guru. He also speaks the same, and that's why we can say it's true.
Guru, Sadhu, you didn't say the Sadhu.
I said Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra.
I know, but you gave an example of
right.
it.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Yes, you're right.
But anyway, now, okay, for the being a devil's advocate, as I am, why should I believe that?
Why should we believe Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra?
Yeah, I mean, because it says it in the Shastra, and the Guru says it, and the Sadhu says it. Of course, I say you should believe us three. Everyone should believe us three, and we all agree. Yes, you should believe him. You should, you know. How does that make it right?
You might answer it.
No, I mean, I want to see Jiva. What do you got to say?
Something. Use your intelligence to place your faith in that which seems the best. The best.
Well, because you're the most intelligent. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of arguments. I mean, not that your argument was wrong. I mean, that's exactly right. But if you're talking to someone who doesn't accept Vedic culture at all, some Westerner, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, what the heck am I going to believe that for? You know, somebody wrote something and everybody believes it. You know, it's not going to don't mean anything. But I think you have to use your intelligence, like Jiva said, analyze things in their proper perspective. This makes more sense than anything else. Great persons, I mean, if you met Prabhupada, you would agree that there's nobody, he's directly from the spiritual world. You know, it's pretty obvious to people who have met him and seen him. Not everyone saw that, but if you're sincere, you would see that. And if you even just looking at what he did, how smart he is, and then if you look at these other people, these Goswamis, and you read about this is history, well, how intelligent they are. So, and they're all accepting this. And what am I? I'm like I don't have too much in the way of brains, but even without having much intelligence, if I just try to accept this and surrender to it, that's faith. You have to have faith. So when you have some faith, then Krishna reveals the truth to you. So then it's realized knowledge. It's not just accepting what somebody else is saying, but you actually have experience of it. But that comes by first analyzing it. What doesn't make sense? You know, you may not understand Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. You may not understand how this is intelligent, but find things in it that what in it makes sense. God is a person, but he has an impersonal aspect also. So we can see that in so many ways. So we have to try to use our intelligence. We're not saying to just accept this blindly. Check out all the other different religions and philosophies and see which one makes the most sense. I remember when we were being taken to court for brain control. What do they call it? Brainwashing, and that's what we're doing, and we're taking advantage of people, and we're doing all this stuff. So Prabhupada told Adi Keshava, who was the main devotee who was going to court dealing with this whole thing, that you should present as evidence all of my books. Let them read all of my books. What? Anyway, so let me finish this. So read all of my books. So people read the Prabhupada's books, they see we're not brainwashing. This is bona fide religion, and you can experience it by surrendering. So let's hear what's a question or comment.
Conviction comes when you hear from an acharya, one who practices what he preaches and has no personal interest except delivering the truth. That is what made me implicitly accept Prabhupada and his disciples.
Okay, conviction what?
Conviction comes when you hear from an acharya, one who practices what he preaches and has no personal interest except delivering the truth. That is what made her implicitly accept Prabhupada and his disciples.
Yeah, it's so important to hear. This is what we're doing now. We're hearing from Prabhupada and we're discussing it. He's the prime eternal among all eternals. He is the supreme living entity of all living entities, and he alone is maintaining all life. One cannot do anything without intelligence. So you might say, well, there's idiots do stuff, but they can't do anything that has any value without intelligence. They can, pass stool and pass urine. It's like you don't need intelligence. But pretty much you can't do anything of any value without intelligence. And Krishna also says that he is the root of all intelligence. He's the source of intelligence. He gives us the intelligence. Unless a person is intelligent, he cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So that's nice. So you have to be intelligent, real intelligence, not just school or academics, but real intelligence. So thinking about life, thinking about why I'm here. Prabhupada said that's the beginning of spiritual life. When you think about who am I? Why am I here? What's the purpose of life? That's the beginning of spiritual life, just when you think about that. And many, many people never think about that. They just go on their whole life waiting for someone else to finish talking so they can talk. And sometimes interrupting because they can't wait that long. Yes.
He says beginning of human life.
Yeah, it's beginning of human life. What did I say?
Spiritual.
Oh, no, the human life, the beginning of human life, when one inquires about the absolute truth. But that's also spiritual. Before that, you're just an animal, waiting for the other animal to stop talking so you can talk. I remember seeing that before I became a devotee, when I got into spiritual life. And I remember being on a bus or a train, and there's two ladies, elderly ladies, talking. And I could see that the other one's not even listening, just waiting for them to finish so she can say what she wants to say. And then as soon as she stops talking, she immediately starts saying, and then the other one's doing the same thing, just waiting for her turn. And I'm thinking, they just go on their whole life. And they're in anxiety all the time. I remember talking to one lady once about anxiety. She says, I would be scared if I didn't have anxiety. I know, they can't stop being in anxiety. It's all the time. And they go through their whole life, just like an animal, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. No inquiry into the absolute truth. That's the beginning of human life. So they're called two-legged animals. Dvija Pashu. Okay. So anyone have any questions or comments? Yes.
Real intelligence. There is a story of Brahmana from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time. He used to just see the picture.
Right.
So how would you explain or give some? Is he, in a modern terminology, again, just playing devil's advocate, someone would say he's not intelligent, but
No, he's definitely intelligent. He's the most intelligent.
I mean the ability to analyze in proper perspective. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure it was a picture or not,
Bhagavad Gita, maybe.
but he was not just knowing the story
Sure.
of that. I'm not positive it was a picture, but it's the same thing. He realized Krishna is so great, taking the position of a chariot driver of Arjuna. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So how, and he just he gets choked up. So that's real intelligence, yes. Yeah, I don't think even the commies think you have to have academics to be intelligent. I mean, it's just stupid PhDs who think unless you have a PhD, you can't tell me anything. And they really feel it like that. They're the stupidest people. That makes you dumb. You know, to think that I graduated from this course now, and now I have this title, PhD. So no one except for a PhD, maybe even a PhD, maybe he can tell me something I don't know. But if they don't have a PhD, I don't want to listen to them. It's useless. They're lower than me. They can't tell me. It's so puffed up. Just so puffed up. I'm not saying they're all like that, but there are some that are definitely like that. I just remember a group where they wanted a devotee. It was all PhDs, all doctors of whatever kind of doctor, but they're doctors of this or that, PhD. And they wanted a devotee who was also a PhD to speak, and they were going to listen to him. And there is this other devotee named Stamba who doesn't have a PhD, but he's so intelligent, and he gives like excellent classes to a mass of people. He's really good. I don't know where he is anymore, but hopefully he's still around. But he was here in Connecticut for a while. And then there was another devotee who was a medical doctor, and of course he's a doctor, but he wasn't nearly as fluent and as understanding, or maybe he understood, but he couldn't speak it as well. So they told them the choice, and they picked the one who has a PhD, even though he's not as, what's the word, fluent or at speaking this philosophy. He knows it, he accepted, he's initiated, but he's not, some people are empowered. They can speak so nicely, so clear, coming up with all these different examples, analogies. So, and to me, that was like, why does he have to have a doctor? And also the courts. We had one lady, devotee, social worker, who has done so much work for so long in this certain field. And then when she was in court, the judge, because she didn't have a PhD, he didn't accept what she said. Just didn't we're not going to use you. We need a doctor to tell us what the situation is. So I'm advising, if you can, get a PhD. So then stupid people will accept you. But that's actually a good reason. That's the only reason to get it, because more people will listen to you. So you can preach to these people. So I don't remember what your question was.
Regarding the Brahman and
Oh yeah, but that was real intelligence, yeah. Any other questions? They can probably ask it by saying it, but I only want one person at a time to talk, and not so loud. No one else has comments? Jiva? What a horrible philosophy about being your body. I only have so much time, and then I die, and it's all over. It's like, wow, that's how can you enjoy anything knowing that it's going to end real soon? Nobody had a question or comment? What? No, not very intelligent. And Krishna reciprocates. I think that's a big thing. When you actually surrender, as you surrender, I reward you accordingly. It's not that reward with material things, but he rewards us with higher spiritual intelligence. He confirms that we're right when we surrender to him. He lets us know we're doing the right thing. And then sometimes when we're not surrendering to him, he lets us know that we're doing the wrong thing. You know, we're disturbed in our mind. And sometimes you might be. I remember being with Prabhupada in a room where there was all of the Radha Damodar leaders. And had the van leaders, and the bus leaders, and the sannyasis, even if they didn't have a van or a bus. And I remember being in a lot of pain in my legs, trying to sit cross-legged. And I'm thinking that this pain I'm having, it's like it's disturbing me and it's going out and it's going to disturb others. That's what I was thinking. I didn't care so much I had the pain. I just didn't want to ruin this whole thing. I thought I was going to ruin everything. And I almost did anyway. But but then and like after thinking that, it was like Prabhupada's mercy came like a wave and just went right over my whole body. And I felt no pain at all. And then I felt like crying, and then I was going to ruin everything again, but I didn't. But that was
Where was this?
that was in Chicago, at the temple in a room. No, I think it was just I felt that everyone else didn't need the wave. I needed it. I definitely, when things like that happened, I never told anybody. Not at least not at the time. Yeah, maybe everybody was. But I remember when the devotee, I wasn't there, but was looking at pictures, paintings, and saying, when I look at these paintings, I can see that they're real and Krishna's moving and everything is happening. It's so alive. It's, because Prabhupada said these are like windows into the spiritual world. And Prabhupada said, that is first class, but telling about it is 10th class. So if you're really experiencing that, you don't just go and tell somebody, wow, this. So it was obvious he wasn't really experiencing it. Or another devotee, when I chant Hare Krishna, I see all these beautiful colors and so many things just go all over in my mind. It's so wonderful. Just keep chanting, it'll go away. It's, you're thinking this is really spiritual, and he's letting you know it's not. It's just your mind. Too much drugs you took. Yes. I mean, I just told you, but I didn't. You don't tell it right then. Who would tell it right then? Did you experience that wave? Weren't you feeling a lot of pain, and then all of a sudden you didn't feel it? No. I don't think anybody was in pain. I thought I was the only one with this pain, and I'm going to ruin it for everybody. So how can I share that? I mean, how can I find out if anybody else experienced it? If I was already thinking I'm the only one that's ruining it. No. I mean, I've had a lot of things happen. And at the time, I mean, I tell about it now, a lot of them, but at the time, I never told anybody. when I was living in the Boston Temple. I don't know how long, maybe a month, maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a week. I don't remember, but for a short time, and I was moved into the temple. And because I was following Jesus before, and Jesus, I had wonderful experiences also with Jesus, and he was helping me. And then I became a devotee. And I wasn't like I gave up Jesus. I did what he wanted me to do. He wanted me to become a Hare Krishna. That was a realization I got. But my mind was, somehow I remembered something from the Bible about worshiping graven images. You go to hell worshiping. And so in my mind, I'm looking at Radha Gopi Vallabha, and my mind is telling me, you're going to go to hell worshiping graven images. You're going to hell. You're going to hell. And I try to rationalize with my mind, and I try to defeat it, but I couldn't defeat it. So then I finally said, I don't care if I go to hell. I'm still going to worship them. And when I said that in my mind, my whole body felt like a real, the closest thing I could understand in what spiritual life might feel like. It was like total ecstasy. So I knew that I did the right thing, and I knew Radha Gopi Vallabha were giving that to me. But I didn't mention it when RT ended and the announcements. But things like that, when that happens, that's all you have to know.
It's custom made, as you surrender.
As you surrender, Krishna gives you exactly what you need to let you know you're doing the right thing. It's the attitude you have. I mean, I'm not. I mean, these are just certain things that I've had experiences of surrendering. And Krishna is so kind that actually, when I do surrender, he lets me know, because I'm not that intelligent to know otherwise. So he lets me know. Okay, so I guess we can end class. I only did one verse. I wanted to do 7-Eleven just because so many Indian people own 7-Elevens. But I didn't get to it. I don't think that's funny. Huh? Okay, let's offer obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. We're going to start. I don't know when, but once everyone has keys, we'll make sure everyone has keys. Once they all have keys, then we're going to